When you get together with the man who leads all the scouting for Perfect Game, Jared Goodwin, and the man who has been scouted as much as anyone, and everyone talks about Max Clark, we need to learn. But I first want to learn your thoughts on coming here. Why are you here? What pulled you back? I always say welcome home. What pulled you back to your amateur space here?
Honestly, just coming back and being around with the guys. This was obviously the first tournament or showcase that I was at. So being able to spend time with some of the younger guys and kind of be that leading voice as they step onto the field for the first time in the 23 calendar year was really cool. Guys are out here working every single day, working really hard, so just kind of being the guiding voice was really, really awesome.
Were you surprised by the magnetism? Because I understand your presence socially, it's large. You're at a smaller high school, you know, and obviously that's your community. This is not your community, but yet it looked like it was. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the whole baseball community seems like they've been my community for the whole process, so it's been really, really cool to kind of connect with some of the supporters. A lot of these guys knew who I was, which was really cool, so I just tried to, you know, give them a couple pieces of info here and there and see what they were going to do for the rest of the week, so it was exciting.
You know what's interesting? I want to look back to 2020. He jumps into your, I'm sure you had heard of him prior to that, but kind of talk to me about your early stages of getting to know Max.
Yeah, of course we kind of met through social media, you know, a DM here or there just about, you know, he's coming to Jupiter that year, and we were obviously excited. There wasn't a ton of traveling in that 2020 year, so he kind of stayed home. So that was the first time we had communicated, and our relationship's grown since then. Whether he swings online, whether it's just kind of communicating back and forth. He has a big game in high school and things like that. But the interesting thing, how it's kind of grown is what he does that nobody understands. Everybody knows the work ethic. Everybody knows the player. He's definitely got flair about him. He's got some confidence, you know, which is unbelievable, which I gravitate towards, you know. But what nobody gets, and it reminds me a little bit of a big league all-star, Bo Bichette, who nobody knows this about him either. He's the one texting about players in his area, under the radar guys, trying to push these young kids or his peers to get them on a platform, to get them to the next level. And that was what I think drew me into him more, is to see the character that he has. He loves to compete. Everybody knows he loves to compete, but the passion that he has to help everybody, especially in his community, get to that next level and achieve their dreams. It's just been a special kind of walk that we've had together, because I obviously can, you know, connect those guys with college and things like that. Nobody knows that about him, so it's just so special when it comes to that, and it's something I wish more people understood. Like he's just a tremendous human being.
Complimentary stuff. Before I put you to work, and I know you've made notes on what you've seen, why do you do all that stuff? I mean, I've heard this stuff. Why do you do all that stuff?
Because I can remember being in the position when I was like 14 or 15 and gravitating towards like the older guys in my community. I was actually around a couple Division I guys when I was a freshman, and even though I had that season taken away and we had COVID, I was literally living in a facility for 8 months training with them, because we couldn't, it was like an actual gym, so we could not go in and out. So we literally dormed up, built rooms, and trained for 8 months straight. So I was kind of already learning from the older guys, the greats of Franklin. So now that I'm the older guy, I want to push back and give back to those kids. And same thing with the community, or the entire baseball community now. Like, I'm in a position where I am the role model. So I've been trying to do everything I can to give back to these kids and enjoy the process with them.
All right, I'm putting you to work. That's enough about you. You ready? You've been watching guys out here. This is the Junior National Showcase. Just a quick reminder. He's been seeing the guys, you know, a little bit younger than him and getting to know them. I want to start with on the black team, Ryan Mitchell. He's a Georgia Tech commit out of Germantown, Tennessee.
So what I got is a left-handed hitter. He's a 6'8" runner, so obviously the speed's going to continue to build, but that's already a good base right there. That's everything you need from a left-handed hitter. I mean, I was a 6'8" when I was here, so that actually works out. And then he's 82 in ins and outs, so it's like good arm, it's live. He's obviously got way more arm strength coming, and then 92 EV plus a couple hits in game. So he's got the P juice and he's getting hits in game. I mean, what else do you want?
And EV's exit velocity for all of our amateur viewers. You're going to hear a lot of the baseball scouting terminology. That's good stuff. Austin Dean's on the gold team, Virginia Tech commit out of Alexandria, Virginia. What I love about him, and I told you this before we recorded, this maybe feels like his coming out party because, you know, 60th ranked left-handed pitcher in his class. Obviously, he's pitched above that here.
Yeah, it was insane. He threw a ton of strikes. He lived in the upper 80s. Slider, changeup, both pair with the fastball. But it's such a big, lean frame, that classic scouting projection. And for me, when they're that big, but they coordinate that well and throw so many strikes, like, it kind of makes scouting easy sometimes.
Yeah, I get it. Tony Vitello's recruited a lot of guys that are here. One of them is Luke Billings. He's not from Tennessee. He's from Texas. And here's what I liked. I want your scouting thing on me, but I want your quick comment. He pitched, he caught, outfield. So you look on his profile, there's pop times, there's infield, there's outfield, there's pitching. What do you got on this guy?
Yeah, that's what I've got. I've got utility guy, and then he obviously can hit. He's had loud barrels in the games this week. And then he's been 91 with an absolute hammer, and he popped a 194. So, I mean, that's literally the entire package from the entire baseball field. So that goes completely with Vitello.
He did everything.
Literally everything.
He did everything. He literally did everything. That's the ultimate utility. I'm biased to California, guys. I'm glad you got a West Coaster out here. Trent played with his older brother, Grindlinger, who's now going off to college. He now will play at Huntington Beach with his younger brother, who's coming as a freshman. This is a big-bodied catcher. What kind of player is he?
When you see him, you don't think he's going to be this athletic. And the hips are pretty mobile. The arm is just enormous behind the plate. Threw 2 guys out in game. But if that guy was a third baseman, if that guy was a first baseman, if he was a left fielder, you'd still sit there and go, oh my gosh, the bat's going to carry. But the fact that he gets it done behind the plate is just extraordinary. He had a 94 exit velocity, double to the opposite field. He hit monstrous home runs during BP. He's a performer now too, not a showcase player, but he put it in a showcase kind of forum to check almost every box you'd want to check, especially for a guy at a premium position that can control a running game. He was fantastic this week.
Yeah, Benji Madura, his coach. I love him out at Huntington Beach. Best uniforms, high school uniforms in the nation. So Josh Hammond, you get another guy who can do multiple things, and you just got done watching him pitch. Hammond's a Wake Forest commit. I love his travel team, the Ostingers. I love that bunch. Jimmy Osting leads the group. What'd you see with Josh?
I saw a bunch of really loud tools who can also really play the game. Literally, it was 8:12 a.m. Dudes ripping off 94 and 82-mile-an-hour sliders, just absolutely overpowering kids. And then he also steps in BP, and he's 100 exit velo for a consistent upper 90s. Like, it was a scary performance from him, and it was exciting. He's a good watch.
Time of day. See, the 8:12 a.m. That's a player that remembers what it was like to play at 8:12 a.m.
Yeah, especially seeing 95 at 8:12 a.m. That thing looks like it's 107.
Yeah, that'll be those camp games. You won't get that in the big
Yeah,
leagues.
no.
You will have some of those in those camp games, especially if an Arizona team grabs you. Navy team, Colleyville, Texas. Matthew Boughton is his name. This guy did a lot of things. He's a Texas A&M commit, a shortstop, middle infielder.
Yeah, and actually Max and I were kind of standing next to each other when he took his infield round, and I was like, yeah, that's baby Lawler. You know, and high praise, obviously, with Lawler. Lawler's fantastic. I don't want to put anything like that on.
That's Jordan Lawler, by the way, Arizona Diamondbacks prospect.
Top 5 pick. He was fantastic, PG All-American, but this kid had those same smooth, loose actions, covered ground, good first step, and it was like a lightning quick release. Then he goes to BP, shows this loose whippy swing, banged a couple balls off the wall. He's just a guy that still looks super, super young, even though he's a sophomore. So there's still something left in there from a strength perspective. So he was really fantastic during workouts.
Yeah, his dad, Michael's his high school coach at a Christian school, Covenant Christian Academy in Colleyville, Texas. Dad played for the D-backs and also coached in the Dodgers organization. So really good family ties. Another Tennessee commit, Evan Hankins, left-handed hitter. This is one of the top first basemen in the class in the country.
Yeah, so I've known Evan for a little bit, and he just continues to get larger and larger and larger. That's one of the biggest 2025 I've ever seen in my life. But huge left-handed power. I mean, he was hitting balls halfway up the berm, and still a relatively easy swing. So, I mean, he was just turning on balls and letting them fly, and it was really fun to watch.
All right, so Evan Hankins, big presence. Cash Strayer, another one of those guys that there's a reason behind this story, but he kind of lays low in the rankings, but comes here and he's going to move in the rankings, right?
Yeah, so I got a call on him about April of this year from his high school coach, Dennis Braun, and Dennis's coach, Pete Alonso, Kyle Tucker. He has Jack Caglianone, who just hit 30-plus home runs at Florida. So when a guy like that calls you and says, this is the guy, he's ready, you listen. And he came out here and did everything he was supposed to do, 90 from the outfield, 87 from the infield, and barreled everything and used the whole field. And it's another big left-handed bat, which is, Plant High School is known for their left-handed bats. And the interesting thing with him is it was just such an easy, smooth operation. There was no excess movement, anything like that, to create real bat speed and just huge carry. So he was really fun to watch, and of course Dennis Braun hit it again.
Yeah, that's great. Plant High School in Tampa, Florida. The Florida team that he plays with, the Florida Panthers, his travel team. And the thing that I like about it, He's still 16 years old. He's not 17 years old yet. A young prospect like this guy is. So, the one guy I want to ask you about is the guy you've known about. His brother was the #1 pick overall last year, the Holiday family. His brother's having an incredible first 2 years in pro ball, but this is Ethan Holiday, the #1 player in the 25 class. You talked to him, you scouted him, what'd you see?
Ethan is phenomenal. We were talking about not only is he probably going to make a lot of money playing in the game one day, but he has big league makeup already. There's not too many 15 and 16-year-olds that can just walk up and kill an interview like 3 different occasions in the same day. And he was awesome. And he was also like talking to all the kids as well. And so that was my biggest takeaway is he's kind of the next generation's like role model. And he's also ginormous. The last time that I saw him, he was not that big. And it's freaky how much he's grown. But he's going to make a lot of money one day. He is filthy. The actions were so simple and smooth in the infield. I mean, just flipping balls from down at the ground, good arm strength, good carry, balls just flying. And then the bat was unreal. Like literally speechless. Like it was so good.
Yeah, to blame you. It's funny, he has the makeup, being around you guys for years. He's done it as a coach, as a leader, as a scout, but for me, it's the ease. It's the, hey, Pops, your dad's waiting on you, and he's just like low-key.
Yeah.
There's no angst. He was kind of glad to join you in the role, even though those were his peers, and he treated them with the same respect as his peers, but kind of glad to be a mentor and a role model, like, without any ego. Does that make sense?
100%.
Yeah, that's fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Now you know a lot more, and you get the perspective of a guy that's going to have his name called very, very early in July.